Okay, you know how some people eat and eat and eat and they just can't gain weight? Why is it so hard to believe that the opposite is also true?
The hypothesis here is that there is a group of people who can restrict their calories as much as they want and still would be unable to lose weight. And the reason it is difficult to believe that this is true is because we have studies and data like this, looking at the discrepancy between self-reported and actual caloric intake and exercise in obese subjects. They're taking a group of subjects who often report that they are not able to lose weight, eating less than 1,200 calories per day. They then calculate their actual caloric intake and actual physical activity compared to what they report. They find that these subjects underreport their caloric intake by approximately 50% and overreport their physical activity by approximately 50%. And the authors report that the failure for some obese subjects to lose weight while eating a diet that they report is low in calories is due to a caloric intake that is substantially higher and a physical activity that is substantially lower than they estimate. And this isn't necessarily because these subjects are purposely being deceitful, but due to the fact that they truly believe that they are consuming less calories than they actually are, and they are moving more than they actually are. Another study measured the difference between actual and reported food intakes in the context of energy balance under laboratory conditions. They found that just because the subjects were under an observational setting, they automatically decreased their energy intake compared to what they normally would have. This is known as the observation effect. Essentially, the subjects didn't want to look gluttonous to the researchers or have their data in the paper look gluttonous. Therefore, they automatically reduced their caloric intake by a few percent compared to what they would have consumed if they were not under an observational setting. But even with this observation effect, they were still unable to accurately report their caloric intake, as their reported energy intake was still between 5 and 21% lower than their actual energy intake, meaning that these non-obese subjects were still underreporting their caloric intake by between 10 and 25%, indicating that there might be a much larger discrepancy between caloric intake and energy expenditure in obese people than there are in healthy people, which may be in part driving the excess adiposity, as well as the things that come along with obesity such as a dysregulated appetite and a reduced motivation to engage in physical activity. But in reality, if you take a group of individuals and carefully control their caloric intake to make sure they are consuming no more than 1,200 calories, all subjects, regardless of if their diet is high or low in carbohydrates, will lose body weight. Because when tightly controlled at 1,200 calories, there is almost no human on the planet who would not be able to lose weight, unless they are a very small human being, have a very sedentary life, and likely have some degree of hypothyroidism. But the reason it's hard to believe that some people are unable to reduce their energy intake enough to lose weight, because it has been reported that many people are underreporting their caloric intake and overreporting their physical activity. And this isn't to make you feel bad, rather to give you hope, because this means that if you truly dial in your actual caloric intake and your actual physical activity, that you are not resistant to weight loss and you can pull the correct levers in order to lose weight in the future.